You might think Capcom's latest game is just a sci-fi action story, but what if I told you there is more to it than that? There is a very real horror story within this game if you have eyes to see it. The true horror of Pragmata is a potential future for humanity that not only might come true, it could be argued it already has. To understand the horror of Pragmata, we first need to understand the basic bones of the story. Pragmata follows the story of Hugh Williams, the system auditor for a team sent to investigate the Cradle, a research station and colony on Earth's moon. This research station was a technical marvel. Following the discovery of lunam, a new ore, the Delphi Corporation learned how to refine it into lunar filament. This new material had limitless potential for construction, and with the power of AI, Delphi were able to 3D print almost anything they could imagine. This allowed them to create entire cities at extremely fast speeds, which aided them greatly in hosting a colony of humans on the moon. But following a large moonquake, communication with the entire facility was lost. Hugh and the rest of his team were sent to re-establish communications, but almost as soon as they landed on the moon, they realized something wasn't right. Protocol dictated that they should have been received by a welcome party, but for some reason, no one came. After searching the nearby area, the crew enlisted the help of a walker, an AI-driven humanoid designed to help with many tasks around the station. It was then that another moonquake hit the area. During the chaos, every other member of Hugh's team was either killed or went missing, and Hugh himself was plunged into a deeper part of the facility. Hugh then woke up injured with his suit failing. Unable to move, he was miraculously saved by yet another AI. This one was very different to the walker that Hugh had met earlier, and she introduced herself as DI-03367, a Pragmata model android. No sooner than the two had met, the station's management AI, Edis, labeled Hugh as an intruder and ordered the nearby walker unit to attack. As Hugh's weapons were unable to break through its defenses, the Pragmata used her own hacking abilities to open up the android's cores, which allowed Hugh to defeat it. Hugh realized that he needed to make it to the communications tower. He needed to let Earth know that something had gone very wrong here, but he also knew that he would need this Pragmata's help to make it there. After Hugh gave her the nickname Diana, the two set off towards the tower. On the way, the mystery of this place grew ever deeper. What was once a bustling city brought to life by the giant lunar filament 3D printer was now abandoned. Even more strangely, it had been continuously printed over, leading to a mess of mashed together landscapes. Edis continued to throw more and more robots at the two. He continually upgraded their designs and started to use more advanced units. Each time, Edis warned the two that they were trespassing and ordered them to leave. After they fought their way to the communications tower, Hugh found himself locked out of the systems once again by Edis. Frustrated by this fact, the two then met a holographic cat. This led them to the Terradome, a place that used lunar filament to create trees that could be programmed to grow by themselves. This place was also now abandoned, leaving these trees to continually grow unchecked. After exploring this new area, the two found the source of the hologram. Here they met another Pragmata unit, this one called 8. 8 seemed to recognize Diana, but as she was trapped by the growing trees, she instructed the two to shut down Edis and free her. Once again, Hugh and Diana fought against ever-increasing AI threats on their way to the Edis mainframe. Against all odds, the two managed to make it there and shut it down, using a power given to them by 8. But to their shock, once Edis was no longer in control, 8 revealed that this was her plan all along. Edis had been holding 8 in the Terradome for a reason. Now free, 8 used a mysterious dark material to attack Hugh and Diana. Barely escaping with their lives, Hugh now rushed to cure Diana. This new material was slowly taking over her body, corrupting her code. Hugh, having built a fatherly connection towards Diana, now risked his own life to save hers. After finding a new reactor, Hugh used a machine to purge her corruption, restoring her and upgrading her abilities. The two then made their way to confront 8. Along the way, they learned that both Diana and 8 were created by the renowned scientist Dr. Neil Higgins. Higgins created the Pragmata series androids for a very specific purpose. The research on the moon using this new material, lunar filament, had more applications than just building cities. Following the research that showed it could be used to replicate trees, Higgins proposed that it could also be used to create new organs for humans, and possibly even entire bodies. This direction of research would not only greatly help humanity, but it was also deeply personal for Higgins. His own daughter suffered with a terminal illness. He hoped that this new miracle technology could be used to cure her. By programming the lunar filament using the AI replication technology, Higgins hoped that he would be able to regrow her affected organs. Knowing that he couldn't ethically test this experimental substance on children, Dr. Higgins created exact replicas of his own daughter. He named these replicas Pragmata. But the lunar filament also presented with its own challenges. As the scientists used this material more and more, they started to realize that just as a substance could be brought to life, it could also die. This is where the two learn of the horrific fate that befell the humans that once lived here. Anything living created from this miracle substance would eventually begin to build up with the dead lunar filament. Higgins realized that anything living created this way would have to be constantly filtered, meaning that they were not yet able to make human organs from lunar filament. Despite being repeatedly warned of this fact, the Delphi Corporation, in their ever-growing pursuit of profit, injected the lunar filament into Daisy Higgins behind her father's back. This mistake led to Daisy's premature death. Neil could only watch in horror as his daughter died back on Earth while he was stuck on the moon, powerless to stop it. In despair and anger, Neil raged against the Delphi Corporation. But this wasn't the only tragedy that would unfold. Just as with Neil's daughter, the lunar colony was also learning that the dead lunar filament buildup was a problem. The mass 3D printing had caused dead lunar filament to build up in the very foundations of where they lived. This same dark substance was now seeping out of the walls, and as it was programmed by AI to build, it continued to grow. The androids that touched this substance were corrupted, but worse, anything organic was consumed. This explained why no one was left to greet Hugh and his team. Everyone living within this colony had been eaten. Knowing that this calamity had the potential to devastate the Earth, Higgins, now slowly dying to the corruption, realized that he needed to warn Earth of the danger. In his final moments, he ordered 8 to warn the Earth of the coming danger. He ordered her to make them understand. This is the true danger of this game. 8, misinterpreting Higgins' request, believed that the most efficient way to warn Earth of the dangers of the lunar filament was to expose everyone on Earth to the lunar filament. Her plan was to send a huge quantity of this material to Earth, convincing humanity of the danger by exposing them to the danger. This is why Edis locked her away in the Terror Dome, and why the AI repeatedly tried to stop Hugh and Diana from freeing her. On their final journey to confront 8, the two find an artificial beach. Diana had been programmed to emulate Daisy. As such, she was inquisitive and had a high enthusiasm for learning. She enjoyed listening to Hugh's stories of his travels and experiences, and Hugh promised to take her to all the places he had been once they reached the Earth. As a pragmata created with one sole purpose, one that she could no longer fulfill, Diana struggled with finding her own meaning. Hugh explained that it was now up to her to find that meaning, and that there was a certain freedom in that. Happy with this newfound goal, the two once again fought their way forward. After finally making it to 8, who now used an android body to fight the pair, the two used all the skills and knowledge they had gained along the way to defeat her. After fighting one final giant android that had been corrupted by the dead lunar filament, Hugh finally found a transport capable of taking them back to Earth. But as he prepared the transport, Diana realized that something was wrong. Hugh had been corrupted by the dead lunar filament back when 8 first attacked them. Knowing that there was no cure, and knowing that the transport needed a power source, one that just so happened to power his own suit, Hugh sacrificed himself to allow Diana to safely travel to Earth. Diana lands on the coast, finally safe from the horrors of the moon, and finally free to find her own purpose. So that's the story of Pragmata. It's simple enough, but I promise to explain why this is more of a horror story than you think. The real danger in Pragmata is the human reliance on machines and, more specifically, AI. The Cradle colony was so reliant on their android workers that as soon as something went wrong, they were powerless to fight back. The humans handed over all of their responsibilities to machines, eventually downsizing to nothing but a skeleton crew. In their ever-growing need of profit, Delphi handed the keys of their kingdom to an AI, who now controlled everything within this colony. This is the cause of the primary villain of the game, 8. I say villain, but technically she isn't one. All 8 was really doing was following her programming. Her programming set by a human. I think this is the significance of the name Pragmata. Pragmata sounds like it was created from joining two terms, pragmatics and automata. Pragmatics is the philosophical and linguistical idea that meaning can lie beyond the literal words that are spoken or written. For example, if you invite someone into your home and then they say, "My throat is a bit dry," you probably understand that they want a drink. This logic also applies to euphemisms, irony, sarcasm. If I tell you the family pet has gone to the farm, you know what I'm saying, even though the literal definition of what I'm saying means something completely different. This is where the Pragmata differ from the android enemies we meet in the game. The androids follow orders to the letter. The Pragmata have been given the freedom to interpret their orders. This key difference is what led to 8 concluding that Dr. Higgins wanted her to spread the dead lunar filament on the Earth. In her mind, this was the most efficient way of doing so. She read between the lines. The reason this is so dangerous is because despite how they may look and how they may make you feel, these two children are still machines. They are still AI. 8 did not understand why sending this substance to the Earth would be catastrophic. She was programmed to obey her creator. She was given the freedom to interpret those orders, but without human guidance, she became incredibly dangerous. In fact, Higgins made the exact same mistake that Delphi did. Just as the corporation handed over power to AI to manage their facility, Higgins handed over power to AI to save humanity. These were both grave mistakes, because AI doesn't have empathy nor understanding. Without human guidance, it only has cold logic. This is a cautionary tale. We see how in our own lives humanity is making similar mistakes. Not only are jobs being lost to AI on almost a daily basis, but even the way we fight wars is now being handed over to it. Drones are being used in record numbers on the front lines of war to kill humans, and there are moves to make these drones automated with AI as well. The UK is now pushing forward with AI facial recognition cameras. These can even detect how you walk in case you cover your face. Now robots are being put in charge of monitoring our every move. Every day it seems like AI is being given more and more power over human lives, driven mostly by greedy corporations and power-hungry governments. The most horrifying part of all of this is that these decisions are being made for us. We aren't voting for them, many of us don't want them, but you can't opt out. Once machines are given power over you, there often isn't anything you can do to take that power back. But there is another side to this coin. The AI of Pragmata also highlights another severe challenge humanity is facing. As we become more and more digital as a society, we are quickly losing something important: interpersonal relationships. The reaction to Pragmata for many, myself included, is how wonderful the relationship between Hugh and Diana is. Diana quickly becomes like an adopted daughter to Hugh. This does make a lot of sense. Hugh himself was adopted and he views Diana just like a human child. But it also highlights just how lonely so much of our society has become. The fact is, for many people playing this game, this will be their only time to experience such a relationship. It's no wonder that Japan, a country with a crashing birth rate, would start to introduce parental figures into their games. The fact that this game has people talking about feeling parental instincts for the first time just shows how dire things have gotten. The discourse about this too shows just how miserable people are now. People are rushing online to find problems with this. Something that is a natural, innate behavior hardwired into our DNA is now somehow weird or problematic. I really cannot say this any other way than we are cooked. The horror of Pragmata is that humanity is slowly being replaced by AI. Humans are slowly becoming obsolete. We have gone so far now that people don't even think for themselves, expecting AI to do it for them. But the most worrying of all, even our relationships with other humans are being handed to AI. So that's why I say Pragmata is a horror story, because while it might seem like science fiction, it's just a little too close to science fact. If we're not careful, these automatons will be roaming the streets near you very soon. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please let me know by leaving the video a like and let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.